Okay, let's go ahead and take few questions for the test. So, question 1. Try to do this yourself. So, the question is that there is a monopolist who has two type of buyers, A and B. And the inverse demand function for A and B is given as P equal to 50 minus 5Q for A and P equal to 100 minus 10Q for B. And the cost function of the monopolist is given as C is equal to 90 plus 20Q. Find profit maximizing output for buyer B. Go ahead, give it a try. Find profit maximizing output for buyer B. Yes, beta. We will go ahead and we will take a session. I'll explain you how to use the portal better and what all to do. We will take that session. Don't worry, huh? So if you are not able to cover few of the DPPs, my only suggestion is that you do them extensively over the weekend. The more you practice, the better you get at microeconomics. You will see that, when we jump to macro or only macro actually, stats again has a lot of DPPs. When we jump to macro, we become a little lighter, right? So the idea is that even when we are doing macro, if you're left up with some DPPs, you just mark it somewhere that this DPP I haven't touched and you cover it at that point. But you do all the DPPs. Don't leave any DPP. So as I said, most of, 70% of your preparation is when you do those DPPs, when you sit in an exam like environment, when you do the mock papers, when you give these online tests. That is when you understand how the exam pattern is. Go ahead, give this question a try. Very simple question. It's not more than 1 mark. Anyone? You're not allowed to take this much time in exam. Okay. So P is equal to 100 minus 10Q. Total revenue will be price into quantity. 100 minus 10Q into Q. 100Q minus 10Q square. Marginal revenue will be how total revenue changes as quantity changes. 100 minus 20Q. Marginal cost is how cost changes as quantity changes. 20. Equate MR to MC. 80 is equal to 20Q. Q is equal to 4. That's it. What was so difficult here? Just MR equal to MC condition. That's it. So the answer will be 4. This is from last year's IIT paper, beta. IIT JAM 2025. You should be able to do this. It's pretty easy question. Any doubt in this? Anyone? We'll not do by AC and MC. You cannot, right? It's monopoly. So AC, MC conditions cannot be there. I mean, I could have used that had it been perfect competition, but not in case of monopoly. Okay. Try this next one. So you have a monopolist who is selling two commodities. Two commodities he's selling, okay? X1 units of commodity 1 and X2 units of commodity 2. I told you that in the beginning, that this is a monopolist. It was given. Anyways, when you see two different demand functions, most of the time it would be a monopolist, right? Okay. So you're given there is a monopolist. He sells X1 units of commodity 1 and X2 units of commodity 2. The average cost is given as 2.50 for commodity 1 and 3 for commodity 2, right? Now you're given the demand functions of the two commodity. X1 equal to 5, P2 minus P1, X2 is equal to 32 plus 5P2 minus, sorry, plus 5P1 minus 10P2, right? You need to go ahead and find the value of P1 at which profit would maximize. P1, P2 are the price of the two goods charged. So commodity 1 का price P1 है and 2 का P2. Find P1 at which profit would maximize. Give it a try. Again, very simple question. It was just a 1-mark question. Again, last year's IIT paper, IIT Jam 2025. I mean, this is not the level, believe me, this is an easy level. You should be able to do this within 2-3 minutes maximum. Find P1 at which profit would maximize. What process would you use? There is a monopolist. So he's a single person. So when he is a single person, you have to first find his total profit. You have to make a total profit function. I'm just hinting you. You have to make a total profit function. Profit monopolist का क्या होगा? Total revenue minus total cost. अब revenue दो product से आ रहा है. He is getting revenue from two products. So total revenue from product 1 plus total revenue from product 2 minus total cost of product 1 and total cost of product 2. Total revenue will be price into quantity. So P1 X1 plus P2 X2 minus total cost. Total cost is nothing but average cost into quantity, isn't it? Because average cost is total cost divided by quantity. So total cost will be average cost into quantity. So this is going to be minus AC1 x1 minus AC2 x2. Now just try it. Put the value of x1 as this. Put the value of x2 as this. आपको एक profit function मिलेगा. Differentiate that with respect to P1 and P2 and find P1 and P2. So it was going to be P1, x1 की जगह पे 5 P2 minus P1 plus P2, x2 की जगह पे 32 plus 5 P1 minus 10 P2 minus 2.5 x1 minus 3 x2. Just differentiate this with respect to P1. Differentiate with respect to P2. You will get two equations. Solve them simultaneously and get the answer. Try it. Give it a try. I'm waiting. अच्छा x1 x2 को भी write it back, हाँ? x1 की जगह put this 5 p2 minus p1 here also and x2 की जगह पे भी. So I'll just write this, huh? 5 p2 minus p1 and instead of x2 you can just write whatever that function was. 32 plus 5 p1 minus 10 p2. Anyone? Hey, this should not take so much time. Find the profit function, beta. 5 p1 p2 minus 5 p1 square plus 32 p2 plus 5 p1 p2 minus 10 p2 square minus 12.5 p2 minus 12.5 p1 minus 3 2s are 6, 96 minus 15 p1 plus 32, 30 p2. Just check this calculation. Differentiate this with respect to p1. 5 p2 minus 10 p1 plus 5 p2 minus 12.5 minus 10, sorry, minus 15 equal to 0. Differentiate this with respect to p2. 5 p1 plus 32 plus 5 p1 minus 20 p2 minus 12.5 plus 30 equal to 0. Get the two equations. 10 p2 minus 10 p1 equal to 27.5. 10 p1 minus 20 p2 equal to, so this is 62 minus 12.5. 49.5. Solve them simultaneously and get P1, P2. Can you do that? Can you now tell me what P1, P2 is? Anyone? Are we there? Is anyone solving? Yes. It will be with negative sign, right? Because this is 62 minus 12.5 gone on the other side minus 49.5. Please check the calculations. I am also doing it with you guys. Five P2 minus 10 P1 plus 5 P2 minus 12.5 minus 15. Seems fine. So minus 12.5 minus 15 is minus 27.5, goes on the other side 27.5. How will that be 25? I think it's fine. Go ahead, solve for P1 and P2. How is everyone getting different P1? You've got the method, right? Just try it once. Find P1 and P2. Did we miss any number? This is 5 P1 P2 minus 5 P1 square plus 32 P2 plus 5 P1 P2 minus 10 P2 square minus 12.5 P2 minus 12.5 P1 minus 96 minus 15 P1 plus 30 P2. Yes, that's right. Thank you for highlighting. This will be plus because this is minus and this is minus, therefore plus. Yes. So this becomes plus 12.5 minus 15. So 15 minus 12.5. Just correct this, huh? Now just find P1, P2. What is P1 and P2 coming out to be? This is 10 P1, huh? What is P1 and P2 coming out to be? So first equation becomes 10 P2 minus 10 P1 equal to 2.5. And second becomes 10 P1 minus 20 P2 equal to minus 49.5. Still, please look into the signs very carefully. Do it very carefully. Tell me the answer. So solve them simultaneously. Instead of 10 P1, you can write from here. So you have 10 P2 minus 10 P1 equal to 2.5. So 10 P1 will become 10 P2 minus 2.5. Put it in the second equation. Okay, so I will go with what all of you majority are saying. P1 is 4.45. This is in fact correct. And P2 is 4.7. P1 is 4.45 and P2 is 4.7. So the idea here is not to do the calculations. I mean, I know you can go ahead and do that. Do it very carefully. Look at the signs plus minus and do them. The idea is to understand that we haven't really gone ahead and we have never done a case in monopoly till now where there are two commodities sold by a single individual and we were asked to find the price. ऐसा कुछ केस नहीं आया है, right? So the important thing here, why I wanted to highlight this question, is that in such kind of questions, you just have to keep one thing in mind, that as a monopolist, my aim will always be to maximize my total profit. I mean, I am selling two different commodities, and you have seen that in the DPPs, we have done questions on bundling and tying, right? And when we were talking about questions on bundling and tying, that time also, we were looking as to how the total profit can be maximized when we go ahead and when we have two products being sold. उसमें यही केस किए हमने ना, कि अगर मेरे को दो प्रोडक्ट को बंडल करके सेल करना है या उनको अलग अलग सेल करना है, which will fetch me more profit. All those DPPs on bundling and tying were there, that only. So it is very similar to that. This question is very similar to that. It is asking me to find the price at which profit is maximized. And again, it's a very different kind of question, because usually when we make the profit function, when we maximize the profit function, we differentiate it with respect to the quantities. We don't differentiate it with respect to price. But इस case में we are differentiating it with respect to price, because I have to find the price at which profit is maximized, not the quantity, right? So I am differentiating my profit function with respect to P1, with respect to P2, getting to equation like we do in Cournot models, like we do in Stackelberg models, like we do, in Cournot models, like we do in Bertrand model, where we solve equations simultaneously. तो एक तरीके का ये वही केस है where I have two commodities being sold and I want to get two equations and I solve them simultaneously and I get the value of P1 and P2. So a different question, but the concept is very same. Maximize the total profit of the monopolist. In this question, we see that prices are endogenous. Prices are determined within the model, which is correct, because the monopolist is a price maker. He can determine the price at which it wants to sell, right? So yes, that is why this question is a bit different. Okay, we'll end the class here. We'll meet tomorrow and we'll continue with general equilibrium. Thank you.